Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living in Portland, Oregon. Listen past the end of to find out more about our spiritual center and ways that you may collaborate with us. Good morning, and welcome to the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome here. All that we ask is that you stay open to the possibility of changing your entire life simply by changing your mind. My name is Reverend Larry King. I'm the senior minister here, and please accept my welcome. I do have a few announcements before we get started today. First of all, just to let you know what we're doing during this time when we can't be physically gathering together. We do have a number of opportunities still for us to connect online. So first of all, we do have our Sunday services on Facebook Live. Many of you are listening into that right now. It's on at 11 a.m. every Sunday. Also on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. via Zoom teleconferencing, we have a series of Wednesday night meditations. And this Wednesday, I know we're featuring the subject, Opening Our Spirit to Renewal. And licensed practitioner Nancy Ashley's putting that on. So Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Zoom. Friday, I'm hosting Lunch with Reverend Larry, and we've had a couple lunches together already, and we're enjoying ourselves. So please, if you have the time slot at 11:30 on Fridays open, you'll want to join us also via Zoom. Now, some of you I know are already asking, well, what is this Zoom thing, and how do I take advantage of that? If you just go to our website at cslportland.org, you'll find the links and the information necessary to get started on any of our Zoom-based services and meetings. I do want to mention today at 12:30 we have another such meeting. We're hosting our virtual town hall meeting today at 12:30. And again, if you just go to our homepage, cslportland.org, you'll see the links for that right on the opening page. So that's today at 12:30. We'll be giving you an update on how the center is doing during this unusual time. We'll give you a brief update on finances and program. Also, along the lines of more business, on May 31st, that's also a Sunday at 12:30, we're going to be having our annual business meeting. So we'll be electing officers. We'll be giving you a more in-depth look at how we ended up 2019, answer any questions that you might have. That also will be on Zoom teleconferencing, 12:30 Sunday, May 31st. And again, the details for joining any of these various online activities you can always find at our website. Okay, I think that covers announcements for now. You know, one of the things that has been up for me lately is what we can do to really connect in with one another. And I know the purpose of it, of course, is love, to show love and friendship for the people we care about. But it occurred to me, there's that old saying that it's difficult to love others if you don't have a good handle on loving yourself first. And so today I wanted to do a meditation on love, and I think you'll find this one difficult for some of us who are not used to directing that love inwardly. So treat yourself, if you will. Allow this time just to be a time of relaxation, that inward journey, and allow that inner praise for the self, that love for your own self to be born. And so, first of all, make yourself comfortable. Since most of you are probably at home, you can lie on your back with a bolster under your knees if you like, or sit comfortably with your feet on the floor. If you are lying down, feel the connection between the back of your body and the mat or the carpet or your sofa. If you're seated, lengthen up through your spine, broaden your shoulders so that you can breathe more easily. Just allow your hands to rest comfortably on your thighs. All right, once you're settled, just close your eyes or soften your gaze. Tune into your breath. Let us begin by noticing our breath without trying to change it. Also notice if you're feeling tense or relaxed without trying to change that either. Just notice your breathing. Notice your feelings. Inhale through your nose and then exhale through your mouth. Continue to take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe, become aware of the state of your body, the quality of your mind. Can you notice any place that your body's maybe holding on to tension? Do you feel closed off or shut down someplace in your body or in your emotions? Just notice where your mind is going. Is it wandering off? Or is it at home within your breath? Is your mind filled at ease, or is there a restlessness, negativity, or doubt? Just notice the feelings. No need to correct them. All feelings, all thoughts, all emotional states, they come and they go. And just notice where you are right now. I invite you to place a hand over your heart as you continue to inhale your nose and exhale through your mouth. Ask yourself, how does it feel to place my hand on this tender area, this place where I experience the love for so many others? This is the heart of the soul. This is the place of deep love. Allow your breath to become smoother and more effortless. Begin breathing more normally through your nose. Feel the air flowing into your lungs and then out into the world again. For a few moments, let us continue to focus on the breath. On each inhale, think, God is love. And on each exhale, I am love. So on the inhale, God is love. On the exhale, I am love. With each in-breath, indeed you are drawing in that love of Spirit itself to comfort, to nourish, to vitalize. It is Spirit's good pleasure to always love its creation. With each inhale, God is love. And with each exhale, I am love. Let us just spend a moment breathing in and reciting this mantra internally. God is love, and I am love. God is love, and I am love. Just keep repeating the gentle words inwardly as you breathe naturally and deeply. God is love, and I am love. If your mind should wander, know that it's okay. It's the nature of the mind to wander. Simply bring your attention back to your breath. God is love, and I am love. Notice how your thoughts may come and go, whether positive or negative. Allow them to pass by like clouds floating in the sky as you bring your attention back to the in-breath and the out-breath. God is love, and I am love. God is love, and I am love. And now I invite you to visualize yourself standing in front of a mirror. I invite you to look into your own eyes. What do you see right now? Is it sadness? Is it love? Is it joy? Is it neutrality? Just gaze into your own eyes in this imaginary mirror and notice what you see before you. Picture yourself maybe wearing your favorite clothes, at ease and peaceful. Regardless of what appears in the reflection, tell yourself, I love you. Tell yourself, I am worthy of happiness. Tell yourself, I make a difference. Know that what you see in the mirror may change based on how you feel about it. I love you, tell yourself. Happiness is mine, tell yourself. I love and am loved, tell yourself. Imagine that you can breathe directly into your heart and visualize love pouring into your heart, straight from God, with each breath. Let this love warm and permeate you from your heart center as it fills the rest of your body. Feel that energy of love flow throughout your body temple. Feel a sense of comfort and calm traveling from your chest into your neck and head, out your shoulders and arms, hands, also down into your ribs, your belly, pelvis, legs, and feet. You are made of God's love. And so this sensation of warmth may fill you from head to toe. Just continue to breathe and know that love is always available to you. It is God's good pleasure to love itself, to love you. When you're ready, I invite you just to take a few more deep, mindful breaths. When you're ready, just softly open your eyes. I invite you just to sit for a moment to acknowledge this experience, to acknowledge God's love, to acknowledge your love for yourself. Refer back to this meditation or your memory of it anytime you need to create a loving experience for yourself. So welcome back, everybody. So glad you joined us today. We're embarking the rest of this month on a series that I'm calling the Spiritual Laws of Success. And And we're going to have some fun resources. I've gone back to really the beginnings of the science of mind to discover what some of the early writers had to say about success and how we might use spiritual principles to achieve that success. So we're going back to the creator of the law of attraction, Milford, Preston Milford. We're going back to the beginnings of the idea of the mental equivalent with Emmett Fox. And then I'm going to be using Ernest Holmes to lead us through a discussion of cause and effect next week. Now, you might be asking, why now? Why talking about success when the world seems a bit confused right now, a bit in trouble right now with what's going on? Whether you're looking at the stock market or business indices, whether you're looking in the health sector, you might say, Larry, this is an odd time to talk about success. But you might not know what I know about time. So the ancients had two ways of measuring time. There was the everyday time that you and I are familiar with called chronos. That was the word they used for it. And that measured out the days and the hours much as we do. Of course, they didn't have watches, but through the use of the stars, through the use of the position of the sun overhead, you could accurately say, well, I'll meet you at midday in the square. And people would know what that meant. It was literally when the sun was directly overhead. People were used to watching for those kinds of signs. And people could really measure time pretty accurately using chronos. But the other version of time that the ancients used is something that we're totally unfamiliar with, except in a very few situations. It was called kairos. And what it meant was the auspicious time or the right time of things. And what I would like to suggest today is that we are in one of the most auspicious times on the planet. And so auspicious times means when is the time to act? When is the time to move? When is the time to initiate things? When is the time to harvest things? They had means of knowing when it was time to harvest the crops, not based on the calendar, but by the growth of the fields around them. They knew when it was time to harvest the grapes simply by testing the firmness of them. So all of these ideas of right timing I want to talk about today because I think we're in an unusual position both personally and in terms of the world right now. In fact, I think we're almost have the trifecta of auspicious moments. So for one thing, it's auspiciously the right time of year here in the northern hemisphere. Spring is always the perfect time for initiating new activities. We have that spring energy. I know a lot of my neighbors are out walking in the neighborhood. They feel like it's time to get out, time to do things, time to initiate things. And so on our side is that spring renewal feeling. But also, haven't you noticed the planet itself is in renewal? And whether you're looking at some of the changes that have happened because of the slowdown of the pace of the planet, whether you're looking at the more introspective ideas that are going on right now because people's routines have been upset, honestly, the time for making changes is when the world is in transition. That's when the opportunities can be found. That's when the newness will be embraced by other people who are also a little off balance, a little not used to a new normal. And then, of course, the third auspicious thing that we have going for us is actually global warming and all of the activities and changes that are happening because literally our climate is changing a bit. And so never before, at least in my walk on this planet, have we been faced with this sort of trifecta of opportunity. Now, I know some of you are saying, opportunity, it looks like danger to me. It looks like craziness to me. And that, of course, is there too. When there are great opportunities, when there are great capabilities, it usually means there is some turmoil. It usually means that the newness that is present in the world can be off-putting. But it is also the perfect time for trying out newness. People are expecting and looking for newness, looking for new ways of being, looking for new ways of carrying out their desires. And therefore, everyone's scanning for that great new way of being. Everyone is interpreting the signs and the portents in way that allow newness as never before. And so this month, the spiritual laws of success, I want to give you the tools for seizing this opportunity. Now, I can't give you the great ideas. We're going to work on those in a minute. The great ideas have to be yours. But what I do know is by using 3 key new thought tools, these spiritual laws of success, you can take a great idea that you have and very easily, during this auspicious time, bring it through to fruition. Find great success in your own life. Okay, I think it's time for our joke. Let me see if I can find it here. So a traffic officer stops a woman for exceeding the posted speed limit. He asks the driver her name, and she says, "I'm Mrs. Shidalvie Zumanaskigash Rechumunga from the Republic of Kyrgyzstan. I'm the attaché to Dr. Brzezinski, and I'm on my way to the Namibian embassy." Well, the officer looks down at his ticket book and pen. He looks back at the woman through the window. He starts to make a note in his ticket book, but instead leans into the car a bit. He says, "Okay, but don't let me catch you speeding again." And so I think it's time to talk about laws. The joke, of course, talking about traffic laws, and you'll notice in the story, just because of the circumstances, because of her name and the police officer wondering how on earth he was going to write up the ticket with all those hard words in it, in a way she escaped the law. Do you know what I mean? Every now and then the human laws that we come up with can be either violated or escaped. But there are another couple laws that I want to talk about today that you just can't get around. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter what your position in life is. Natural laws and spiritual laws, by definition, we all get to follow them. They all work equally. So first, let's start off with natural laws. What about gravity? At least I don't know of anyone who can suspend gravity on their behalf, right? We drop a pen, it always goes down, right? It's like we don't have any opportunity to bypass or bluster our way through a natural law like that. And in fact, of course, natural laws we can use to our advantage. The people who understood initially the laws of electricity have managed to create a world where illumination is available all the time, have created a world in which so much of our modern life revolves. And so natural laws, they work the same everywhere. No matter where you go in the world, electricity will still perform its miracle. Gravity will still be in full force. They work for everyone. They're the great leveler. Doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. Doesn't matter whether you have an unpronounceable last name or not. No matter where you are on the planet and no matter who you are, you can count on natural laws. Well, the third category of law is spiritual law, and they work very much like natural laws in that they're available to everyone. They're available regardless of who you are, and they're always in force. Like gravity, you just don't escape them. You're participating in them in every moment. So the 3 laws we're going to be using this particular month, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, and the law of mental equivalence, are working all the time. And whether you know it or not, every success and every failure, every opportunity that you've ever taken, you have actually been using these laws already. And so my purpose this month is really to showcase how we can use these laws more productivity. Electricity always existed before Edison, before Benjamin Franklin, right? Early humans could look out in the sky and see electricity in the form of lightning. But what happened was later on, humanity figured out how to harness that power, how to allow this natural law to be productive in our lives. And what I plan to do this month is the same thing with these 3 spiritual laws. I plan to show you how to use them practically in your own life for the purpose of success. So I think it's time maybe for an Ernest Holmes quote on this idea of success. And I swear it's here. Well, maybe it's not here. All right, well, let's move on. So, what does success look like to you? What area in your life would you like to experience success? There's a good deal of information out there on success. And I found an article from Success Magazine that I wanted to briefly talk to you about. The article is by Alex Jasmine. And he says, first of all, we need to be aware of what success is not. Before we can truly pursue success, we need to understand that some of the obvious answers may not be true for you. And so sometimes people think that simply building wealth or having the perfect relationship, launching a certain kind of business, or amassing a large social media following, sometimes people think that by definition those will bring success. The trouble is we're using success measured by other people, and it may not be true for you individually. So don't assume that any of the formulas or the areas of success that other people have measured will be true for you. Oftentimes people will achieve some of these ideal successful scenarios only to discover they're unhappy. They're unhappy because they pursued the wrong definition of success, one that didn't match their values. It may have matched someone else's values, but it didn't match their values. So the article goes on to talk about what success is. Success is when we set our goals, objectives, and trajectories based on what we desire, our own personal desire, not what someone else says, not what the media would plan out for us, not from the people maybe that we admire. We must set our own goals and aspirations. And so how do we find this path? What steps then do we take to achieve true success? The author goes on to say we need to answer some laser-specific questions. What truly matters to me? What are the things that set me on fire with passion? What do I want to make of my life? What lifestyle do I want to achieve? Who do I want to be? And what do I want people to say about me after I pass on? Let me review those questions again really quickly. What matters truly to me? What are the things that set me on fire, that create passion in me? What do I want to make of my life? And what lifestyle do I wish to achieve? Who ultimately do I wish to become? And what, if I could look back, what would I like people to say about me after I pass on? Now, the answers to these questions, and you'll discover it not only true for the people at Success Magazine, but you'll discover it true for yourself as we work through these 3 principles of success, is that you need to be specific in your answers. It's not enough to say what truly matters to me is happiness. You really need to be able to picture that happiness. You really need to be able to define that happiness. What does happiness then mean to you? What are the characteristics of it? What's involved in it? How would you know if you achieved it? And as we get into our homework a little later, you'll discover that it's important that we nail down that idea of truly what we want, how we would measure success in some degree in order to use the spiritual tools that we'll be using this month. I think where I'd like to go next, if you're willing, is a little experiential. I think I'd like to examine some of the areas in our life for the potentiality of that being an area that we want to work on this month. So if you're willing, I'd invite you just to sit comfortably. We're going to be doing a focus on 6 areas of success in your life. So sit comfortably. Allow your eyes to close or become soft. We'll take a few deep breaths just to become calm and centered. Another deep breath. And just allow my voice to guide you into asking and answering a few questions. The first area that I'd like to cover is health and vitality. Ask yourself, if I was completely successful in my goals for health, fitness, and vitality, what would that look like? What would true health and vitality look like in my life? And how would I know that I was successful? What would it really feel like to be successful if true health and vitality, fitness and energy were mine right now? What would that feel like? And then ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I desire? Is this the area that I would like to focus on? More than anything else, is health and vitality what I would like to make a commitment to? Next, I invite you to focus in on perhaps your living conditions. It might be your home or your car. It might be the surroundings that you find yourself in. And ask yourself, if I was completely successful in my goals for my living conditions, what would that look like? How would I know that I was truly successful if my living conditions, if my home, if my car, if my neighborhood was exactly the way I would like it to be? What would it feel like to truly be successful in this area? Just picture the changes that might be necessary. Imagine what your life could be like if your living conditions were exactly the way you would like them. And then finally ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I desire? Is this the area in which I'd like to focus? Is this the area that would make all the difference? If I could only choose one area in my life to improve, to find success in, would it be my living conditions? The next area that we'll focus in is the material world, or your abundance. If I was completely successful in my goals for abundance, what would that look like? How would I know that I was truly successful? What would it feel like to be truly abundant and luxurious? To be truly successful in this area of the material world? Picture yourself with all of the resources you need to accomplish anything that you want. Feel that level of success. And then ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I desire? Is this the area truly that I wish to focus on? Is this the area that would make all the difference? The next area of focus is relationships. If I was completely successful in my relationship goals, what would that look like? How would my long-term and short-term relationships and friendships look if I was completely successful in them? And what would it feel like to be successful in my relationships? Would the quality of love be different? Would friendships be deeper? Would there be greater intimacy? Once you have a sense of feeling truly successful in relationships, ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I would choose? Is this the area of focus that I would like to take? The next area of potential focus is your work or your vocation or your calling. Ask yourself, if I was completely successful in my work, my vocation, or my calling, what would that look like? How would I know that I was truly successful in my service to myself and the world? What would it feel like to be successful? Imagine your work or your vocation, perhaps your way of being in service to the world. Imagine it just as successful as is possible. And then ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I desire? Is this where I would like to put my energy and my time? Is this how I would like to use the spiritual laws of success? Well, it's possible I may not have hit upon the area where you would like to make the most progress. So that last area I'd like to focus on is entirely within your own purview. Ask yourself, if I was completely successful in some other area of my life, it might be your spiritual life, it might be your recreational life, might be some other area I haven't even thought of, but what would it look like if you were truly successful, this other area? How would you know that you're successful in it? What would that feel like? What would the characteristics of it be like? Just take a moment and see yourself as being completely successful in that area. And then ask yourself, more than anything else, is this what I desire? Is this the area of success that I choose to focus on? Well, I invite you to come back into the awareness of your room. The purpose of this exercise was really to help us choose for the rest of this month and for the purposes of our homework this week to find an area in your life that you'd like to make a commitment to change. And so your homework this week, choose an area of your focus. It might be relationship, career, health, leisure, personal development. Whatever it was in this meditation or perhaps in some other way, perhaps your intuition has brought you something that you wish to encounter more success on. And please begin thinking about that. You know, the quote from Success Magazine said we had to have a laser-like view of what we want to achieve in the world, that was necessary. And that's backed up by the great New Thought writers as well that we'll be using. That part of the idea is clarity around what you truly want. So I invite you to maybe do a little bit of journaling this week, or some other method of capturing in your own mind those areas in your life that you'd like to make a difference. Well, I want to close today with a summary and a prayer. So in summary, today we talked about the auspicious moments for change. And I got to tell you, it's right now. The world is changing, and you can ride that wave of change, or you can hang back. But I do want to tell you, when you're riding the wave of change, you can make an awesome difference in your life and in the world. We also talked about the differences and similarities between human, physical, and spiritual laws. Natural laws and spiritual laws apply to everyone, everywhere. They work in a definable and consistent way, and they're in effect whether you understand them or not. Also, they can be used to your advantage, and that's what we intend to do this month. So the rest of this month, we're going to be looking at how 3 important spiritual laws can be specifically directed in order to bring more success in some area of your life. So I'm going to close today, of course, with a prayer. There is one power, one presence, one life, and one goodness. And what I know about this one thing is that it is everything. That every measure of success that has ever existed is within God, and therefore we have access to it. These spiritual laws of success created by God are in effect and working all the time, and it would be God's great pleasure that they be consciously used in my life. And so I take up that challenge. I say yes to the changes of the world right now and begin clarifying how I'm going to use these spiritual laws to make my life better and how to make this a world that works for everyone. And I know the same can be true for you, that each person within the hearing of my voice has the power to define a spot in their life where they would like to make some progress, where they would like to truly seize a hold of this auspicious moment and bring about a change that makes all the difference in their lives, their families' lives, their communities' lives, and the life of the world. It is possible. It is God's great pleasure to give us what we choose to have. And so for this, I give great thanks. For this, I understand that these spiritual laws are simply available and waiting. And so with a lot of love and gratitude, I release this prayer into the activity, into the action of the law itself. I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. So now is our time of conscious giving. I invite you, if you like, to take your gift in your hand, to make a plan to do an online donation, to give your gift of love or service or a donation as you see fit. If you'd like, just place it over your heart or mentally capture it in your mind and repeat after me. Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I completely and lavishly receive. Thank you so much. Today I'd like to close with a longer prayer from Ernest Holmes. This is from the book This Thing Called You, which is the book that we're going to be using next week as we examine the law of cause and effect. I'll end with this prayer for success that he has in the book. And I'd also just like to mention, too, that following my remarks, Sylvia Kearns has recorded also a prayer for us that will be added, a pre-recorded prayer that will be added to the end of our service today. So this is this is Ernest Holmes, A Prayer for Success, from This Thing Called You. My knowledge that the great I Am is ever available gives me an increasing capacity to draw upon it and to become inwardly aware of the presence of Spirit. Through the quiet contemplation of the omni-action of Spirit, I learn to look quietly and calmly upon every false condition and see through it to the other side of the invisible reality which molds conditions and recreates all of my affairs after a more divine pattern. And so with penetrating spiritual vision, I dissipate the obstruction. I remove all obstacles. I dissolve any influential wrong patterns. Standing still, I can watch the sure salvation of spiritual laws themselves. And so I now claim health instead of sickness. I claim wealth instead of poverty, happiness instead of misery. Every thought of fear or limitation is simply removed from my consciousness. I know that my word transmutes every energy into constructive action, producing health, harmony, happiness, abundance, and above all, success. I know there is something at the center of my being which is absolutely certain of this and of itself. It has complete assurance, and it gives me complete assurance that all is well. I maintain my position as a divine being here and now, and I know that this consciousness of reality is the supply for my every need, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And I accept that supply in deepest gratitude. I am thankful that this is the way that life fulfills my needs and desires through the doorway of my inner self, and I'm thankful that I know how to use this perfect spiritual law. I come to this great foundation of supply in the very center of my being to absorb that for which I have need mentally, physically, and emotionally, and I am filled with the sense of reality, that which I desire. As I am filled with this reality, I permit it to flow into my world of thought and action, knowing that it brings peace, harmony, order, success all around me. There arises within me limitless faith in the unconquerable presence, the perfect law, and divine action. And so it is. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Kearns, one of the licensed practitioners at Portland Center for Spiritual Living, coming to you today from beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. It is my honor to come today and share a prayer with you, a prayer of hope, of strength, and of knowing that you are loved. For you are. All of us at PCSL extend our greatest love to each one of you that listen to this recording. And I ask you to sit back in your chair, relax into this moment, softly close your eyes, and center yourself. As I take this breath of life that is God everywhere. It is in Asheville. It is in Portland. For there is no time and space where God is not. For I know that there is only one power, one presence, one divine consciousness that is the wholeness, the perfection of life itself. It is love, it is joy, and it is beauty. It is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Before time and after time, the perfection of that creative power is present, has been present, and will always be present. For it is what this thing called life is. And I am one with this thing I call life, embracing, emanating, and claiming this wholeness, this perfection, this one mind that is God, that flows through my mind as my life. As I embrace this teaching, as I embrace this knowledge that has created the thoughts that become my life, for those thoughts and those desires that are based upon that love and that wholeness, that unity that is present within me. For I know it is present everywhere. It is present in each person that has ever lived. It is the magnificence of truth. I claim for this Portland Center for Spiritual Living congregation, ecclesiastical staff, and Reverend Larry, this knowing that I know that I know that truth is all there is, that anything that appears as truth is an illusion. And during this time, this unprecedented time, where we have been called to pause in life, to pause and breathe, and remember what we came here to do, knowing that the processes that are going on this planet, although very real in the virus itself, is not the truth of who we are. That standing strong in that wholeness, that perfection of life that flows in and through and as us, is our truth. Setting aside the illusion of fear. For where there is fear, there cannot be love. And truth is love. That God, that Spirit that flows everywhere is the perfection of love, where all healing occurs. And as we're called upon to release all that is no longer serving us, to remember the faith and truth of life, which is love, embracing more than we ever have, every second of every day, knowing that the spring flowers, the birds singing, the nest that will soon be producing little birds, is that reminder that life is full and goes on as always. That as the very seasons itself produce completely different things, so do the seasons of this world in which we live. Knowing that this season that is upon us is unbeknownst to anything that we have ever experienced, and knowing that above, behind, below, in, through, and as everything is that perfection of love. And I claim that peace that comes with recognizing love. I claim joy for knowing the truth of who I am, of who we are, and the beauty of spirit within us. And I am so grateful for this truth. I'm grateful for wholeness. I'm grateful for the unity that we experience by being together in ways that are new and different. I am grateful for life, love, and joy that fills my heart in this very moment right now. And as I release this word into a law that always says yes, for it is the law, the only law, the law of perfection. I lean into the arms of my beloved, which is truth, which is law, which is wholeness, and know that it is already done. And I invite you to say with me, and so it is. Aho, Shalom, Amen. And I encourage you, as you go through this day, to remember to sit back, breathe, and know that you are loved, always. Thank you.
If you happen to be in the Portland, Oregon area, we'd love to have you visit in person. The Portland Center for Spiritual Living is located at 6211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have inspirational services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday. We also have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. We have a variety of content dedicated specifically for our online listeners. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Our website is also the place to learn more about what's going on at the center or to contact us. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.